But let's get on to our 5 takeaways, where we're going to take a look at the 2-1 victory over Sheffield United and see what 5 things we can take away from the game. And let's start with number 1, and that is DEKI Delight.
Yeah, and obviously Kulusevski's in for me, a man in form. He's playing very well at the moment. I thought he continued his really great form in this game. Really, really strong showing. The stats bear out as well. 5 key passes, 3 big chances created, 2 shots on target, 2 accurate crosses as well, and obviously scored the late winner. Really strong showing from Kulusevski, and also showed. Was this the first time that we've seen him in the number 8 position under Postecoglou?
Yeah.
And I thought he moved inside for those last few 10 minutes or so. Provided a really good option when he moved inside as well. Obviously, that's where he got the goal from, and maybe that's something for Postecoglou to think about in the future. Maybe that could be an option for him if we're in a similar situation. We need to break down a low block, and we need that extra man to be in the centre who could be a bit more incisive. He showed he can do that, and as well, you know, that stat came up in midweek. He's run the most out of anyone in the Premier League, and maybe that is also another stat that can show. Maybe that's another stat that can show kind of his willingness to put the hard work in. And yeah, I think that a really good display from him.
I actually thought he looked even more confident and more creative when he moved into that number 8 position. Would you like to see him start there?
Alongside Maddison?
Or maybe even like instead of Maddison, like if Maddison needs a rest or something.
I think he could be an option there. I think he could be an option in the centre, 100%. Would I like to see him start there? Maybe on occasion. I still think he's probably best off on the right, but I think he showed he can be a very good option in there, 100%.
Yeah.
I think he could be a bit like a Bernardo Silva kind of player. I really believe that.
Yeah.
He could be very good in both positions.
And I feel like that was his best display of the season so far. And if he can just keep building on performances like he had yesterday, then we're going to see Kulusevski get back to those levels of what he was at when he first joined the football club.
Yeah, 100%.
But let's move on to number 2, and that is RICHY to the rescue.
Yeah, and what an impact Richarlison had when he came off the bench. Literally only had 20 minutes off the bench, and we needed him to come up with something if we were going to get anything out of the game. And he provided exactly what we needed. He won 3 of his 5 aerial duels, which showed what an impact he made physically on the game. 1 key pass. He had 3 shots on his time on the pitch, 2 on target. Obviously ended the game with a goal and assist as well. After the week he's had, after the troubles he's had, it's so amazing that he came on and put that, gave that performance under the circumstances. And I thought he really showed what he can offer for this team and the different kind of threat he can offer, just more physical, a physical threat. And I thought he really showed what he can provide, and I thought the header was great. I thought it was a really great assist for Kulusevski as well, and I just think he added exactly what we were missing throughout the 90 minutes. Yeah,
and you've seen from him like last season and this season where the weight of pass has just been completely off from Richarlison, and that weight of pass for that little pass into Kulusevski was just absolutely spot on. Any weak or any harder, it probably would have been a bit off, but to come on, to completely change the game, to add that threat that he hasn't maybe added in previous weeks, to score, get an assist. I mean, you can't really ask much more from Richarlison. So hopefully this can kickstart his Tottenham career now, because we really need him. So if he can, like I said with Kulusevski, if he can build on performances like yesterday and start making a difference in games like he did yesterday, then we won't be talking about a waste of 60 million, and we'll be talking about a really good asset for the team. So big up to RICHY, and a really good display yesterday, and hopefully all the RICHY haters can get back in their holes. Let's move on to number 3, and let's talk about the Late Show.
Yeah, and obviously Spurs broke a record yesterday, and they broke their own record. Spurs did hold the record for the latest a team has won a game when they've been losing, and that was Steven Bergwijn against Leicester, was Spurs losing in the 95th minute and ending up turning it around. We actually broke that record yesterday, as Spurs were losing the game yesterday up until the 98th minute before we were able to turn it around in the 100th minute and end up winning the game, which is unbelievable to see. I think Spurs also hold the record as well, if I remember right, for winning a game by 2 goals after losing, and I think that was against Swansea back in 2017. We were losing up until the 89th minute.
We scored 3 goals, didn't we?
3, so we ended up winning the game by 2. So I think there's a few late records that we own.
There wasn't Ericsson just insane in that. Yeah,
exactly. So a great record to break again, and just goes to show how rare it is to see a win like that we did yesterday, and the mentality of the team to keep going up until the very last minute, and we got our award.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just such like when you win the game in that manner, that just shows everyone why this game is just the best game in the world. The emotions that come out. I mean, the stadium was just incredible yesterday, and if we would have just won the game 2-1 in normal time, and it was just like a standard game, and it was over after like 95 minutes, you just wouldn't get those emotions like we got yesterday. And to win a game in that fashion is always just so magical, to be honest, and it brings the best out of people, and it brings those just raw emotions that you just don't get anywhere else, and it's just unbelievable to witness it.
A lot of people commenting on the limbs as well, the home limbs. Some of the best home limbs they've ever seen. That's what a lot of accounts say.
I mean, I think it's the best limbs that I've been a part of in that stadium for sure.
There you go.
And that was at home to Sheffield United, not against Ajax in the Champions League, not against Arsenal, not against Man City. Oh, sorry, I should say Man City. Well, but we didn't score in both of those games, to be fair. But the penalty save against Man City, when Lloris saved that penalty against Aguero, I mean, that was limbs. But I mean, this was something else. It really was. Let's move on to number 4, and that is a refereeing shambles.
Yeah, and I thought the referee was horrendous yesterday. 13 yellow cards on the day, which I thought he completely lost control from minute 1 of that game. We obviously ended up sending off Ollie McBurney for dissent, which I thought was a really harsh decision. He missed the Maddison penalty, which I thought definitely should have, via VAR, should have gone back to and got involved with. He also had made some bizarre decisions when it came to drop balls after the crowd were throwing balls back onto the pitch from corners, and he had 2 identical situations and gave 2 different decisions, one a drop ball to Spurs, one a drop ball to Brighton. I thought just throughout the game he was very frustrated with how he was managing the game, and I think it was just a shocking, one of the worst refereeing displays I've seen in recent times.
Yeah, and you know what? We've been talking about the referees throughout the season so far, and this was probably the worst of the lot. I mean, I don't understand how a multi-billion-pound industry like the Premier League cannot get better refs and better refs essentially in place, because all the tech is there for VAR, and that's great and everything, but I just don't understand how things can just keep going the way they're going. They seem to be getting progressively worse as opposed to progressively better, and it just makes no sense, because this is literally like they've got all the money in the world to like put into training for referees and all this kind of stuff, and just nothing seems to be getting better.
Yeah, it was so strange. Probably the worst refereeing performance I've seen since we beat Brighton at home last season.
We'll take that one on the chin. But let's move on to the 5th and final takeaway, and that is home comforts, Ange.
Yeah, and look, yesterday's game threatened to end Ange Postecoglou's unbeaten home record, but he actually made it to 15 games unbeaten now at home for Ange Postecoglou, for Yokohama, Celtic, and now Spurs, which is a really impressive number for him. And also it marked our best start to a season since 1965, with 4 wins over our past 5 games. Best start to a Premier League season. Obviously last season was our best start after 10, so we'll have to wait and see what happens after 10 games.
So we've had a better start this season than we did when we won the double?
No,
maybe
since 65.
Oh, 65.
So now 61 we won the double. So maybe not since then, but look, just goes to show how impressive our start has been under Ange and how rare it is that we never start like this.
Yeah, I mean, under Pochettino we used to have like slow starts to the season, didn't we? Under Nuno we had 3 wins in a row, but then that was followed by 3 defeats.
Yeah.
So look, I think you won't get a Spurs fan out there that is not getting a bit giddy with the way things are going. And I think I love that quote from Ange Postecoglou after the game, talking about, is it your job to really like temper the expectations of the fans? And he's like, what do you mean temper the expectations of the fans? Let them get giddy, let them get excited.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's exactly what we should be doing as fans. And that is exactly what is bringing all these limbs and all these great celebrations and non-stop singing and all this stuff. Like, I hate these people that come out and being like, oh, it's just 5 games in, stop getting overexcited, stop getting this, stop getting that. I'm like, if you can't enjoy your team when they're playing well, and after such dark days under Conte, Jose, Nuno and all this thing, if you can't enjoy this, then what the hell is football for?
100%, I completely agree. And I love that's what Ange said as well after the game, saying like, you know, if fans want to get carried away, it's not my job to say they shouldn't get carried away and stuff like that. It's our job to live up to their excitement rather than dampen their expectations. And I absolutely love that. And obviously he's not saying, oh, we're going to win the league or anything, but I just love that you know, he's appreciating that, you know, what fans feel, and that they you know, he's not telling them they're wrong for feeling that way, and he's not telling them, oh, it's only 5 games, you shouldn't get over. He's like, go for it, just go hell for leather, go over the top, say we're world beaters now, just go for it and enjoy the moment. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, that is your 5 takeaways from the game against Sheffield United. 2-1 victory in the most craziest of circumstances. 2 goals, 98th minute and 100th minute. Unbelievable stuff. But let us know if we have missed anything out that we have taken away from the game. Let us know in the comment section below.